to approach him and say, hey, I like Sugar Crisp too, and let's talk about this thing. So those informal are the rapport builders, and they really are well worth it. And oh, don't want to miss this one. Develop links with the whole agency. What if you win the lottery and you take off? Does anybody else know someone else from your partnership in your agency? So don't just count on one chicken. You know, try to invest your eggs in other baskets. I really like visual metaphors. I tend to mix them up, but I think that's fun. Teamwork, any kind of teamwork building can help you build the trust. I think you've all experienced that. We don't need a believer. Okay, the partnership structure. So we're back to the whole thing of the informal to formal continuum. You saw these before. I said them at the beginning. I put them into ABC. Decisions and risks, responsibilities, your purpose, and communication. So we're just going to visit each of those a little bit. Okay, I'm going to focus on the formal side because I think everybody's familiar with the informal. We all do that, networking, info sharing. So on the formal side of the decisions and risks, you need to work out, I think you were saying earlier, put down on paper what your decision making is, identify your timelines, who gets a role, what is their role at the table, what resources are you each committing. It also goes to valuing and taking a look at, is this a coordination partnership? Is this a full collaboration? What's the nature of this partnership? But getting it down on paper, which also helps you, again, in the event that, you know, Jim goes on the wild cruise around the world and we have to forge new relationships with someone inside his organization. We can take this piece of paper and say, but this is what you agreed to. And if you run into difficulties, if you haven't identified your decision making, that's when it gets messy. Try to, you know, if you thought the decision making was consensus, but the person across from you says, no, it's voting, and I brought 5 people with me, that's a problem. You know, you get the power imbalance and the trust goes down the tubes. So these can act as a checklist for you as well when you're looking at the structure of a partnership. So again, the formal, clear vision and goals, that builds trust, builds commitment, and also builds on your shared philosophy. So talk it out. Take those initial meetings to do that. It seems like it's taking a lot of time, but man, oh man, once you get it down, everything will fall together much more smoothly. Regular activity and contact, defined expectations. What impacts are you really heading to? You know, do you have a goal for how many people attend your special event? Do you have a goal for what the budget is, if there is a budget, and how much each will contribute? And obviously plan your evaluation from the beginning. You can't tack it on at the end. If you were going to count, let's say you're handing out family literacy packages. If you start counting them at the end, you're going to miss a few. Communication. There's 3 types of communication involved in a partnership. So there's within the group, there's from the group to the outside, the community, and there's from the community into the group. So who's going to be the spokesperson for your group? Have you designated that? Who's going to speak to the press? Back to my example of the Family Literacy Day event that we host every year. So one of our first years, the media came to me, I spoke to the media, it all went well, I listed, as I do each and every time, all our 7 partners, and the article comes out in the paper, and it's only the Project Read event. None of the partners are listed, and I get a call from one of our partners saying, you didn't tell the press about, you know. I said, I'm really sorry, I did. I listed all of the partners faithfully. They were on our media release, so I provided her again with the media release. I said, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about that article because sometimes the press only puts in, you know, they always quote your worst words. But certainly I could reassure her, and she said, yeah, you're right, it was in the media thing. I have had that experience myself. At first she was a little bit ticked, but we were able to work it out. So that's just an example. Decide on your conflict resolution before you have conflict. So who gets to appeal to who? If it's a collaboration, and let's say you've got 4 partners in the collaboration, and one's maybe not holding up their end of the bargain, What are the other 3 going to do? How are you going to handle that? Other than kicking them out or some sort of violent act that I really can't discuss. Yeah, 5 minutes, okay, we're almost there. The ties that bind us, here's the usual stuff. Somebody write down the decisions, whatever you do. And I've started to do this thing where just want to recap what happened at the meeting, send that email out as soon as possible, or this is my understanding of the meeting. Can people correct me if I'm wrong? Something as simple as that. Documents and agreements. I have been in a partnership agreement that was highly formal. We had a lawyer write it up. But basically, we told him what was the nature of the partnership and what was to be in those documents, and he put it into legalese. So you can take advantage of that. That's a cost. Or you can write up your own. Really, it comes down to if people don't have the trust and the commitment, they're not going to honor the legal paper any more than the, informal paper. So here's a checklist for a partnership agreement. All the things we talked about. Some of you put this in terms of reference now, or committee, outline. There's lots of words for this, but here's a good checklist of what you should possibly. Some of these came from the, in Ontario, there's the Trillium application. So sometimes you have to propose a collaborative in order to get funding. That's very common now from lots of sources, whether that's a community foundation, a national organization, a private foundation. So this is a really good checklist if you're trying to propose a collaborative in order to gain funding. These are all the key elements. And I think all of you know about the evaluation and review. Take the time. What did you do? How well did you do it? Maybe you have an outside evaluator, maybe you don't. And what's the potential? If it didn't go well, then break up now. Don't prolong it and hold out for some sort of counseling and emergency divorce at some point. Just say, thanks so much for doing this event with us. Bye-bye. Don't prolong the pain. It's okay to move on to a new relationship. So again, building in the evaluation. Are you doing the formative? In other words, during the process, are you evaluating and reflecting? And of course, at the end. And trying to involve, if we think about all the partners, whether they're peripheral, resource, or involved, are you asking everybody? Partner maintenance. You know what? If you're a good partner, people want to partner with you. I mean, that's really the bottom line. And again, the trust message comes through and the commitment. Avoiding problems. Share the credit, I think, is a good one. And you know what? Own the mistake. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I was supposed to book the table and chairs, and I failed to do that. This is what happened at my work. Could someone else take on that task? And I'll take on a task at the event. Again, that's solution focused. I like this one because it has animation. We're almost at the end. Isn't that fun? Okay, the yellow says wrap up announcement. So, you know what? Pat each other on the back. We never take the time to do that. We're always rushing on to the next thing because we're overachievers and friendly. Send out the media release. I will send you, okay, this is my little note about the webography sitting in my office. Please feel free to email me, ann@projectread.ca. I'd be more than happy to email you with the webography.
Would you email us all of the slides as well? Because not all of them appear in the handout.
Or are they on the USB key?
She's right.
No. USB key? What USB key?
I
don't know what's on there.
There's a lot of slides that were
They might be. Yeah, email me if you want the slides and I'll send you a PDF. And I think this is the question time? Or is this it? Is this it?
This is it.
This is 4:45. Okay, no, just wondering. Thank you.
Hopefully, I've got 4:33.
4:33. 4:35. Do you have any questions? You want me to go back to the partnership? Do you have any questions? I will go back to the partnership. Or comments? please complete the evaluation
And give it to me.
and give it to Catherine.